Hello, hello, it's Coyote Christina, surfer, author, dream weaver. It is TGIF Friday. We just have one more animal to go through to wrap up the transformation stage and then talk about the chakras a little bit. So on Fridays we usually do chakras. I didn't quite wrap up the totems on Thursday, so I'm going to start out with that. So the second half of the transformation stage, we've been talking about destiny. And the animal guides that have helped us along this part of the journey are coyote, owl, and spider. And we're talking about spider at the end, talking about the two lobes of spider kind of form that 8 and that infinity sign. So it's this endless weaving and creating cycle. And I just like how it ties into right now the Lionsgate portal is open. So the Lionsgate portal opens on July 28th and closes on August 12th. And it's the annual alignment of the brightest star in Orion's belt and Sirius and the sun or the earth in Leo. I need to do a little more research, so I have a little more information here though. I did read about it a couple days ago, and I'll read about it again to get more specific information. But basically it's the time of year where it's the stars are aligned for manifesting our greatest desires. And Amazed and Amused is about creating a mindset of curiosity and becoming, so we appreciate love and are grateful, and we move towards our dreams. We connect with our inner wisdom, and then that helps us to decide where we want to go, which is the transformation stage, is deciding where we want to go. And our animal guides will help us get there, and we build our life of our dreams together. Sounds so simple. And so foo-foo. But if we do day after day, do a daily practice every Monday, we do a daily practice and really work to process our trauma and free ourselves from ignorance and circumstance, we can arrive on the shores of the graces where we reclaim our birthright of joy and celebrate. All right, so going back to the transformation stage, I'm kind of going everywhere today. Focus. The goals of the transformation stage, or the destiny section of the transformation stage, is to overcome our ignorance and circumstance, and because this is so that we avoid repeating the worst moments, our emotional history and that trauma. When it's unprocessed, it just keeps repeating itself in our lives, and the universe just keeps bringing it back to us and giving us a chance to face it and heal it. And so we want to overcome it. We want to face it, look at it, and then to embrace our inner power to move towards self-determination. So instead of being controlled by these patterns and coping mechanisms that we've developed to overcome situations in the past that have overwhelmed us, we can see how they've done that, see how our patterns maybe aren't creating the life we desire, or are creating the same feelings or the same relationships that aren't healthy for us. So to change that, once we change that, then that's our power of self-determination, and we get to decide what type of relationship and how to build it. So at the very end, like I said, weasel stands for stealth, and it's not a medicine that appealed to me at first. Like, weasels are just kind of whatever. They've never been an animal that I like wanted as a pet or was fascinated by, but I really love weasel medicine, and I really like that it's at the end of I put it at the end of the transformation stage, because it is basically a medicine of royalty, and that comes into weasel for the royal we. So when we embrace weasel medicine, we find at a fundamental level, perhaps each of us is simply universal consciousness having a human experience, and no particular experience is any better than another. If all possible paths are open to each of us, every life experience becomes a possibility, and we are no longer individuals with singular life experiences, but rather community members with common paths and common destinies. So let's do our best to be kind to ourselves and to each other, true to our hearts and souls, and gentle to the earth and to our fellow creatures. This is where the end of the transformation stage brings us. No matter where we started, we understand at a deeper level the concept of I am you and you are me. We don't come to this knowing by building walls or bowing to abusive power structures or taking life as it comes. We have learned to stand up for our own self-worth and that of others, and to honor our feelings first, knowing that the fear embedded deep within is lying to us, knowing that the fear does not have the power if we do not react to its fanged and forked commands. We stand firm in our dignity and integrity with Weasel. We have opened our hearts only to find more heartbreak, but somehow, some way, these heartbreaks have brought us closer to others, even when a few have fallen away. We have stood at the window and watched as the sad procession goes by. And this is where I quote another C.P. Cavafy. Yesterday we read Ithaca, and today I quote C.P. Cavafy's poem, The Gods Abandoned Antony. So this is an excerpt from that. As one long prepared and full of courage, as is right for you who were given this kind of city, go firmly to the window and listen with deep emotion, but not with the whining, the pleas of a coward. Listen, your final pleasure, to the voices, to the exquisite music of that strange procession, and say goodbye to her, to the Alexandria you are losing. So, I really like that. I hope you liked it. I wanted to share. It is the dignity of Weasel that leads us on with open hearts and open minds, even after the heartaches and breaks. It is the unified power of the we within that carries us even when our hearts are broken and our souls are weary. Day after day, we keep getting out of bed and we do our best to care for our wounds within as well as the world without. Weasel brings us together and sharpens our purpose along with Badger and Salmon. There is nothing that can stop us when we are fueled by the medicine of Weasel. The fire within burns through all blocks and fears. With the stealth of Weasel, we find the unmatched strength of our heart to weather any storm, and we learn to rest in the eye of the beholder, not fearing any judgment or condemnation. We are free to be all we are meant to be, self-determination in the flesh, wielding the arrows of Eros that have the power to change the world. Unstoppable today. So that's a little bit about Weasel. Now I wanted to read a little bit about the 7th chakra. We've been talking about a lot about the 6th, and the transformation stage really focuses on the 6th and the 7th chakras. So I thought we would move to the crown chakra, chakra 7, open to the mystery of heaven. Element is thought, purpose is understanding. So it's talking about how it's the 6th chakra, or the third eye chakra, that brings the unconscious symbols and archetypes into our minds, and then it's the crown chakra that interprets them and understands them. Identity is the universal identity, so that goes along with the archetypes, the symbol of the universality of human experience. This is oriented towards self-knowledge, and the demon is attachment. So to avoid getting lost in the infinite, we must retain a home to which the spirit can return. So we started with Ithaca and forming our home, and now we're going to destiny and how we transcend, move towards spirit and embrace our destiny, but we still have to keep our home. Let's see. Opening the crown chakra is about expanding our awareness so that it can embrace a larger portion of the universal field of consciousness. Becoming one with the river. So it's also talking about at a mythic level, we battle forces that have lives of their own. In order to survive, we must become one with the force, but we have to leave the stream bank in order to have this experience. This is the aspect of spirituality that involves letting go. The stream bank is our familiar world, our rational mind, our safety and security. It is the body, our body of knowledge. As we enter into mythic consciousness, the rational system does not disappear, but is transcended by a deeper experience. Becoming one with the river does not mean that we lose ourselves. If we simply gave up and surrendered to the water, we could drown or be dashed on the rocks. The challenge for most of us is to meet, this is the challenge for most of us that we meet on the spiritual path. How do we become one with a force greater than ourselves without losing ourselves? Our third chakra will has to engage and drive the feet. at a certain point. By this merging, not just jumping in, but learning to swim until it is a glorious, free-flowing dance, we enter the third level of consciousness, the evolutionary system. And at this point, I and thou become we. This is the expansion into the universal mind. So that kind of aligns with the weasel and the universal we, all about coming into a system that's not just focused on self and self-identity, which is our third chakra, but going into our social, and not just into the social of relating with others, but actually up into the sixth chakra and seventh chakra, where we transcend our individual selves and become one with the whole, in theory. So here we go, Eastern body, Western mind, a little information on the seventh chakra, see if there's anything else. I think that probably covers it. And in the universal identity, the operating system transcends all these interpretations and simply witnesses an incredible dance of the cosmos and its myriad of manifestations. To bring that divine state of awakened consciousness down into our bodies and act upon it is to experience immanence. As the vehicle that brings the gods back down to earth, immanence is the restoration of the sacred. And I wrote underneath that, the mythic of the everyday. So it's really about bringing, it's in the mundaneness and getting stuck down in our lower chakras. We're out, stressed out. We can, when we have that free flow energy up into the upper chakras and free flowing down into the lower chakras, then we can bring that energy down of spirit and inspiration and bring that immanence into our everyday. So God is as close to us as we can risk being close to our real self. So I think I'll end with that one. Hope you enjoyed TGIF. Hope you're having a good week, and we'll see you tomorrow for the I Descent discussion. Bye-bye.